Been on this job for 5 years. This is the 5th Fave 5 episode. 5 years. Come a long way since Pearl Harbor, haven't you? Movies with Mikey.
Are we doing an internal monologue thing, like with noir, or what?
Hey, maybe that Pokemon movie is good. Gives me the same feels as the Downey commercial.
This is weird.
Well, 2018 was a weird year.
I would subscribe to that newsletter.
Like The Predator was weird bad, but not good weird bad, even though it's Shane Black doing the most 1990s thing to ever have been 1990s. Like it actually succeeds at being the never-made 1992 sequel to Predator, and somehow it still left me cold.
That's more or less accurate, yeah.
Also, Bruce Willis remade Death Wish and nobody cared.
Largely okay with that.
Solo.
Don't do this.
What?
Just don't
say that Solo made less than $400 million worldwide and that movie wasn't wizard at all. Not even a little wizard. Solo was the most unwizard movie ever made.
It was definitely unwizard, I'll give you that, but Donald Glover was the best thing in it. Ah!
Jinx, you can't
Same
talk.
time.
No,
Oh, disembodied voice. It was definitely unwizard, I'll give you that.
And can I get a minute? Where was Atlanta on the Golden Globe noms? Brian Tyree Henry is a treasure.
Hey, I am right there with you. Atlanta made 2018 mostly livable.
Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
I said mostly?
It's a useful card to keep in your back pocket.
Yeah, that can just get you out of any conversation, huh?
That movie is just baffling.
Will it get me out of this conversation?
We don't.
Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
Let me take you back. Drew Goddard co-wrote with John Swabin and then directed the film from that fantastic script. The film would eventually come out in 2012, though it was completed and slated for release in as far back as 2009, and MGM was having MGM kind of problems. He then went on to have a short jaunt helping to set up and showrun Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix before passing those reins off to Stephen S. DeKnight so that Drew could go write the Sinister Six movie, which I think took place in the Andrew Garfield universe, if I'm not mistaken. 2013 was weird. He also wrote the script for The Martian, which I adore because that is a ridiculously hard book to adapt, and Drew kept a huge amount of personality in it.
Each time you break away, I think you're gonna stay.
And his first film directing gig since Cabin in the Woods in 2012 is Bad Times at the El Royale, an experience that will begin with a feeling of genre deja vu, which is when the seatbelt sign clicks on. I remember walking out of the theater from way back when and thinking, man, I wonder what Drew Goddard is gonna do next. And that took a second, but the answer is this film, a film that is on some level a deconstruction of Tarantino films as a genre, but with empathy, patience, and grace. Let this movie unfold before you and lean into it. Let it charm you. Bad Times at the El Royale, written, produced, and directed by Drew Goddard. He did the triple threat. That means he's coming for you. It's a bunch of bad guys meet at a remote location movie where the protagonist isn't immediately identifiable from the faces you see. It's like Smoking Aces or Lucky Number 11 or Snatch or The Hateful Eight, at least at first, which is why it's very much worth your time. Hey, you know who rules in this movie? It's everyone in the entire cast. Thank you. Next movie.
Hey! Sydney Saragui! Sydney, where are you?
Black Panther came out early enough in the year and was such a massive success that it made us all think that 2018 was going to be awesome. Oh, we sweet summer children. I made my cinematic obsession with Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan known back in my Creed episode. And then Black Panther added Chadwick Boseman, Lupita Nyong'o, Denai Guerrero, Angela Bassett, Letitia Wright, Daniel Kaluuya, Forrest Whitaker, Sterling K. Brown, Martin Freeman, and Andy Serkis. And half the cast said yes before they even read a script.
My left stroke just went viral.
Because they found out Ryan Coogler was making it, which is coincidentally how I decide if I want to see a movie or not. It is definitely a Marvel movie, but it is also a confident meditation on the cost of a world that colonialism has homogenized in its own image. Two great tastes that taste... well, that doesn't... So hang on. New sentence. Black Panther made $700 million domestically, and that's just a number. Black Panther made more money than Titanic and 2 other films that had Black Panther in them. That is a statement. It directly asks the question, what have we lost by eradicating cultures throughout the history of the world, and what they would look like if that culture had been allowed to survive into a modern existence. Also, it's a Marvel movie.
Don't scare me like that, colonizer.
It directly juxtaposes 2 viewpoints that both hold water by making the protagonist and the antagonist disagree about this very thing. And both make a series of mistakes that exacerbate the central problem. Killmonger versus Kingmaker. There's a great video from Vanity Fair where Ryan Coogler breaks down the scene in the casino with Claw. If you wanted to see the kind of thought and attention to detail that goes into a great film by a killer director and a wonderful team, this is your video. He breaks down color story in the film and how blue represents colonialism in this universe, the actual villain. He gets technical about how they move the camera around to get the impossible shots in that scene. He goes over how all the different characters have different fighting styles based on their personalities, and it's a fascinating video, and it gives a lot of context to the level of complexity they were operating at. I think Black Panther is bar none one of 2018's greatest achievements. If you haven't yet seen it, I highly recommend it. Also, it's on Netflix, so you really don't have much of an excuse at all. And really, just give Ryan Coogler anything. Hell, give him Thundercats. He would find a way to make $1 billion with it. No segue! This story is so bananas, I don't even know where to start. Okay, I do. In 2014, Ronald Stallworth wrote a novel of the same name about how in the 1970s as the first African-American police officer in the Colorado Springs Police Department, in his free time he infiltrated the KKK. I don't want to get demonetized. In an effort to expedite that process, he simply called in, and that kicked off a series of conversations with Dave Duke. This all actually happened and is in fact hilarious. Trust me, just go experience this movie. That's all merely the setup. And just so you know, the movie is less accurate than the book, as Spike Lee, buried the lead on that one. This is a Spike Lee movie. Anyway, the inaccuracies from book to film include Ronald's partner was not actually Jewish, some of the timeline was moved around in the 1970s, and I don't want to give away too much, but some of the stake raising involving bomb plots and stuff is pretty much manufactured. But I don't even care. Ronald Stallworth trolled the Klan and is the greatest human being to ever exist.
But did you know?
This film was produced by both Blumhouse and Jordan Peele's production company Monkey Paw Productions, a Marvel team-up you will remember from Get Out. On paper, this entire ordeal is indiscernible from parody. But this movie is more than that and necessary in how it chooses to illustrate the world we currently find ourselves in. This film is timely, vital, and affecting. Spike Lee is landing some huge punches again, and I am here for it. I'm about to segue from BlacKkKlansman to 8th grade. There's no good way to do that.
When did you get Snapchat? What grade?
5th grade.
Fifth grade? What? Yo!
A bit of background. Bo Burnham is a stand-up comic and performer who started on YouTube at the age of 16 singing songs in his bedroom.
Oh yes, I'm banging one tonight. Oh, That was somebody reliable.
He was exploding on YouTube at the time, and I remember even Judd Apatow was paying attention because he hired him to write a movie musical when he was only 18. Bo's 28 now. Fresh off writing and directing his first film like he's been doing it all of his life. Yeah, it's upsetting that anyone is that talented, but okay. 8th grade is nothing that it appears to be on the surface, and that's a good thing. We experience the story of Kayla, who we meet just finishing up 8th grade and preparing for high school, played wonderfully and perfectly by Elsie Fisher. I've never seen anxiety or panic attacks displayed so brilliantly and so experiential on screen before. Bo uses sound and music design to accomplish this, showcasing the audaciousness of teenage emotion. It goes from 0 to 100 in a single heartbeat, let alone a single scene. Everything is calm and normal and fine. And then in walks Aiden. The movie is never unsure of its choices. I cannot believe that it was from a first-time director, let alone from my favorite comedian working today doing something I really honestly can't believe that anyone just did the first time out the gate. If Bo Burnham wasn't on your radar, fire up Netflix and watch Make Happy with immediacy because it's worth your time, because it's a stand-up who is actively trying to work art into the set and into the comedy. The Can't Handle This Kanye rant is one of the greatest emotional reversals I've ever seen someone pull on an audience.
I got lots of shit to say.
And sort of as a side note, I think the way that this film uses social media is something that every single producer in Hollywood is going to call Bo about. It's the first film I've ever seen where kids on phones and social media being part of the actions of the movie isn't cringe o'clock. It isn't part of the plot, and no moral judgment is made on it at all. If anything, the movie goes out of its way to say, it's okay to be you, not the you think other people want you to be. You is fine. You is good. It's well worth your time to experience this film without me giving any of the experience away, though fair warning, it gets pretty intense. This movie throws everything at you, and anchoring it all is a revelation of her performance from Elsie Fisher. Outside of the fact that her performance is so powerful and layered that Kayla ends up comforting us with her strength, even when it's her that something is happening to, Elsie manages to build a hell of a performance arc holding all of that together. Here's a real easy thing to do. If you have the movie, watch the first scene and the last scene back to back. Now hand Elsie her statue. Thank you. Bye!
Me just shut up into my job, so here I go.
...2018 was the year of Spider-Man. Actually, hang on, did a bunch of other people say that already? Yeah, they definitely did. Okay, everyone's gonna name drop the exceptionally bananas good PS4 game and Venom and blah 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 blah. Marvel and Sony oversaw 4 separate continuities for the Spider-Man universe in 2018 and capped all of that off with a story about spider beings existing in multiple continuities across multiple storylines. In 2018, if Spider-Man was in your piece of entertainment, there was a good chance you made at least $500 million. Except for this movie about how anyone can be Spider-Man. Well, it didn't do as good, but that doesn't dampen the artistic achievement of it. Also, the most beautiful and wonderful thing I saw last year, flying under the banner that, yeah, anyone can put on the mask, anyone can be Spider-Man, and yes, that matters. And it's not just about Miles in this movie. Gwen Stacy's greatest attribute was she used to be dead. Because superheroes are a construct we use to inspire ourselves sometimes. So maybe they should reasonably do that. My mouth hurt from smiling and just being astonished that such a staggering display of talent and technology blending into a truly inspiring piece of art that your artist friends are not going to stop talking about until, I don't know, 2021? It really wants to earn your entertainment dollar. Hello, how many Spider-Man movies had Nicolas Cage in them this year? But hang on, because you're never going to believe this, they used Nicolas Cage correctly. Before 2018, I don't know when the last time I said that was, to be honest. It is an impossibility that I can talk about much of anything I really want to talk about in this movie right now, but that's Okay, because I have at least one more episode on the unbelievable technology in Spider-Verse planned for later in the year, like around May. But at the heart of this brilliant film, brought to the screen by Rodney Rothman, Phil Lord, Peter Ramsey, and Bob Persichetti. Okay, in league with hundreds of unbelievable artists, showcasing the most heroic example of how advances in technology can be stylized and rendered onto the screen and fulfill the dreams that people didn't even know they had. We all dream. This movie delivered on every front. Halloween next year is gonna be a trip. Go see this movie and then go see it another 150 more times. And that's my 2018 Fave 5. Keep your head up out there. Hey, hello everybody. That's the first episode of 2019. Big ups to Dave McIntyre, Josephine. I always want to say startup glad wrong, because I don't know what that means, but I enjoy it. Keeps me up at night thinking about all these names. The wonderful supporters on Patreon, like Adam Muto, and how would you pronounce Oliver Mildow, or Franz Pants 16, or Sean Boyce, soon to have the number one single in America. Like, Sean Boyce is the most rock and roll kind of, like pop music rock and roll. Like, Sean Boyce could be the lead of Goo Goo Dolls, is all I'm saying. I like the Goo Goo Dolls. Well, I'm fired, probably. Forever. Well, this was the last episode of Movies and Mikey. I hope you enjoyed it as much as Owen Reed and Mike Hurley and Victor Quinn, or Sazzle, or Stacking Keys, or hey, here's the thing you can do. Go to patreon.com/movies and Mikey, and for any monthly donation at all, you get access to our Discord, which has actually been growing steadily for like a year and a half. There's a lot of members in there. And I recently have been spending a lot of time in there and arguing with people about things like grasshoppers and dumb movies about animated squirrels. Because I have a lot of opinions about animated squirrels. Anyway, thank you all. I hope we see some new faces, but again, thank you to all of the faces that have been here supporting us for what we're trying to build in 2019. We got some pretty big ideas. I think you're gonna be impressed with it. Like on the Movies and Mikey front, I know you will be surprised to hear this. I think sometimes I'm a little overlong. So one of my goals for 2019 is to edit myself a little better. Less of the asides and more of like, stuff. Hashtag Hedwig lives. Carlin Kennedy. There's always a good name in the middle there. I mean, it's factually incorrect, but it's great. Just like Matt Charles. It's very great. Matt Charles for America, 2020. That's what I'm always saying. Aaron Paquette. Terrible Plan, Ethan Fat, Benjamin A. Straub, Henry Krupp, Kelly Naylor, Richard Scott, Adam Thomas, Trey Warren. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful 2019. So far, mine's going pretty good because I finished another episode on time. So I am gonna go have an apple pie. Bye.